Hello, this is Gary at Jack Raven Bushcraft. Thank you for watching our video. This week I'm going to talk about sit spots. In my view, a large part of bushcraft is around natural history. So it's about understanding the various plants and animals that we share the woodland with. Trees and plants are generally pretty straightforward to spot on account of them generally not moving. Wildlife, however, that's not the case. So you can follow tracks and try to view wildlife in that way. Another way is literally just to find a spot somewhere and sit and wait for the wildlife to come to you. This method Native Americans have called still hunting. It's something that I really enjoy and practice on a regular basis. There are at least two different approaches to sit spots, still hunting. So one is to go to a place where you think that the wildlife is likely to be about. So it could be that you sit yourself down on a trail. It could be that you sit yourself down near a watering hole. It could be that you find a spot where you think animals are venturing perhaps from a wood into a field to feed. So it's trying to find those places where you think the wildlife might be. With this approach, you probably need to be thinking about times of day as well. So often things are going to be animals are likely to be around either at sunrise or at sunset. The other approach, and this is one that I do more often than not, in fact, the other approach is that I'll just wander around until a spot, and I don't know how to put this in any better way, but sometimes this a particular place just calls out, and I think to myself, yeah, there's a nice spot for me to take a seat. I found a nice little spot here. Got a tree to lean up against. I am slightly shaded, so that's going to be useful so I don't get sunburnt. On that note, you'll notice I've put a little jacket on now. I want to try to cover up as much of the white parts of me as possible to make sure that well, basically I'm not glowing in the woods. I'm also sat down clearly, so that alters my shape, that breaks my shape up. I'll often just go for a hat as well. Again, it just helps to break up the shape a little bit, stop me getting potentially sunburnt as well. The other thing that I've got here, in fact, let me just move a little bit. I got my gardener's kneeling pad, quite probably one of my favourite pieces of bushcraft equipment. But yeah, I can just sit on that, keep myself slightly more comfortable, but also protecting me just from any moisture that might be in the ground and losing heat to the ground. So now I'm going to sit here for maybe half an hour or so, maybe 45 minutes. It depends really how much work I need to do, and sometimes I lose track of time entirely when I'm in a sit spot. Now, what normally happens is once you walk into the woods, you're kind of wandering a little bit to find a spot to sit down. The birds will start to alarm, so they'll be putting out alarm calls, and that's going to alert all the wildlife in the area that there is an intruder about. And then once you've been kind of sat there, and try to keep as still as you can. So once you've been sat there for sort of 10 minutes or so, the wildlife tends to forget that the intruder is present. So yeah, it's just a kind of case of sit there. You'll hear the bird calls, those warning signs, that warning song, decrease, stop, and then the wildlife will kind of start venturing out and carrying on with its normal business. And sometimes you might well see some of the larger wildlife that's about. So you might well see deer if you've picked out potentially a trail that they're using, if you've got the time of day right, that kind of thing. But I think it's just as amazing to watch, and I've had it where you'll get a spider come along and it'll just climb over the top of your boot, and then just carry on doing its thing. So yeah, it's a really nice way to spend a little bit of time and just to watch out for the wildlife that might be about. I hope that is of use to you, something that you can take forward in your own bushcraft journey. I will try to get some content out in the next week or two anyway. Make sure you don't miss out on that. You can subscribe either to our blog or to our YouTube channel, either of which are Jack Raven Bushcraft. Until then, take care.